Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and a very warm welcome to the latest in our series of Doha debates sponsored here in the Gulf by the Qatar Foundation. Darfur is known around the world not just as a region of Sudan, but for the massacres, the rape, the forced movement of millions of people, and for the shattering development of one of the world's worst humanitarian disasters over the last 5 years. Who cares? The short answer is that not enough people care. But who cares in the Arab world? Sudan is, after all, a member of the Arab League. Is Khartoum simply battling a full-scale insurgency, or is it, as some have alleged, a case of state-sponsored genocide to be first denied and then later blamed on the West? Our motion tonight, this House believes that Arab governments couldn't care less about Darfur, and our panel brings together the major players and observers in this ongoing tragedy. Speaking for the motion, Ahmed Direj, a former governor of Darfur and now head of the opposition National Redemption Front Alliance. In the 60s, he was a member of parliament and minister in Sudan who left the country for good in 1983. And with him, Nadim Hasbani, a specialist on Sudan for the International Crisis Group, where he's shared responsibility for monitoring the conflict in Darfur. He's written widely on the subject, as well as on defense and security policies in the Gulf. Against the motion, from Sudan's government, Sirajuddin Hamid Yusuf, Director of the Crisis Management Department at the Ministry of External Affairs. He holds the rank of ambassador and is by profession a human rights lawyer. And with him from the Arab League, Zaid Al-Saban, head of the African Affairs Division in the Office of the Secretary General. He has worked extensively in Sudan and represented the Arab League at peace talks that have yet to bear fruit. Ladies and gentlemen, our panel. And now let me please ask Ahmed Direj to speak first for the motion.
Thank you much. I want to move that our Arab brothers, their participation or their role in the problems of Darfur has, to say the least, minimal, if not absent. Maybe because of lack of information, correct information. Maybe because we in the third world and the Arab world have not yet digested the idea of unity in diversity. Maybe that in the Arab world, traditionally, we used to think of people who are black as slaves. Maybe that also in our tradition, we used to not to understand the concept of Arabism. Is it ethnic or is it cultural? It's also very important to understand this. Having said so, I hope that we will provoke you to ask questions, and then we'll be able to answer the questions. Thank you.
Ahmed Direj, thank you very much indeed. If Arab governments don't care about Darfur, why the spate of Arab initiatives that we've seen in recent years? In fact, in 2005, the UN was complaining there were more initiatives from different countries that the rebel movements couldn't even handle them. That's not a sign of not caring, is it?
I remember that the first initiative was taken by Eritrea when they invited all the Sudanese combatants and the Sudanese opposition to meet in Asmara and prepare a declaration of principles to solve the whole problems of the Sudan, and the problems would have been solved.
Are you saying this wasn't a relevant initiative then?
Sorry?
Are you saying this wasn't a relevant initiative?
It was hijacked later on. Also, the Egyptians came with an initiative called Libyan-Egyptian Initiative.
Yes, and then the Saudis came as well.
And it didn't work. I don't remember any Saudi initiative.
Well, the UN talks about it in 2005.
Well,
they said rebel leaders complain about the fact there are so many forums at the moment. Everyone wants to take an initiative at the moment. The Libyan initiative, the Egyptian initiative, the Saudi initiative. It's hardly possible for a movement to service all these initiatives. This is from the UN Special Representative to the Secretary General.
Yes, not to my knowledge. We have never been as an opposition in Saudi Arabia.
What about the Arab conference in Khartoum, October last year? $250 million pledged. That's a sign of Arab caring, isn't it? Arab governments caring.
You see, the problem is not only $50. The problem is...
250 million.
Yes, 250.
Not just 50.
The participation in helping the Sudanese to solve their problem. The problem will be solved by the Sudanese themselves, because it is a Sudanese problem.
But my point is, this is a sign of caring, isn't it? This is a sign of caring, isn't it? These initiatives. these donor conferences, the pledging of $250 million last October, this is a sign of caring.
I think in the Arab world, particularly our richer brothers, when there is a problem, they want to keep away and they just give the money and keep away. The Arab-Israeli problem is the same, for the Palestinians.
Better than not
The
giving
rich
the
ones,
money.
they give the money, but they will not take positive steps to solve the problem.
All right, Ahmed Derej, thank you very much indeed. Now, please, let me